Hello and welcome back to Viber Bites and our continued look at the NFL prospects ahead of the draft here in April. Now, today we are going to take a look at one of the top wide receiver prospects in Georgia's wide receiver, George Pickens. Look at this guy over here. You know he is a baller. But before we dive right in, take a second, rate and review us on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the Vipers Network, and make sure those notifications are turned on because there's plenty more content coming your way in the coming days. Now, let's get right into this. The five-star, top 25 overall recruit nationally from Hoover High School in Alabama. He finished his high school senior season with 69 catches for 1,368 yards and 16 touchdowns to go along with a kick return touchdown. He was also selected to play for Team Flash at the 2019 Under Armour All-American game. He's also got a younger brother, a little bit of a CFL connection. You know, I love that connection to the Canadian Football League here. Chris Humes played collegiately at Arkansas State, and he is now with the CFL's Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Now, let's look at what you're getting with George Pickens. You are getting a 6'3", 195-pound wide receiver whose RAS score comes in at 9.36. Yes, that relative athletic scoring system, you know that is freakish ability there. 40-yard dash, 4.47. Vertical, 33 inches. Broad jump, 125. Now, when you look at that adjusted score, that speed score from Player Profiler, 102.9. That is in the 78th percentile. Burst score, 121.2. That comes in the 50th percentile. Now, as college dominator, you'd expect a little bit more from a guy of his talents. That comes in at 18.9%, which is in the 20th percentile. But that breakout age, 18 and a half years old, 96th percentile. Now, when you look at his college yards per reception, 17.8 yards per reception. That is in the 85th percentile, while his target share at 15.4%, that comes in the 29th percentile. Now, let's take a look back at what George Pickens had accomplished in college at Georgia. In 2019, we talked about that breakout age. The freshman was named to the All-SEC freshman squad and the Bulldogs Offensive Newcomer of the Year, thanks in part to his team-leading 49 receptions for 727 yards and 8 touchdowns. In 14 games, guess what? He only started in 2 of them, and that's the type of production you got from him. Then along came 2020. Pickens started all 8 games, averaging a touchdown per game while catching 36 passes for 513 yards while averaging 14.2 yards per reception. Obviously, that 2020 season is going to look a little weird when we're looking at all these prospects due to the pandemic that was COVID there. Now, in 2021, Pickens played the last 4 games of the season, which says a lot after overcoming an ACL tear way back in the spring. In those 4 contests, he averaged 21.4 yards per reception. Now, mind you, there's only 5 receptions to kind of go off of that. But the fact that he made it back in time for the Bulldogs' national playoff run, that's telling you all you need to know about this guy. I mean, Pickens is that guy. He is a dog on the field. Not just a Georgia Bulldog, but a dog. Now, he also made a big-time play in that national championship game against Alabama, laying out for that 52-yard pass. There's also play versus Michigan. You go back on the film here and take a look at it, where he looks over at the Wolverines bench, gives them a big goal, then proceeds to run over and knock over the DB, turns back to the sideline once more, and shushes them again. Okay, so you know, George Pickens, there is a mean streak involved when talking about this guy. Now, over 3 seasons, 24 games, Pickens has 90 receptions, 1,347 receiving yards, and 14 touchdowns to go along with 15 yards per catch. That's what you're getting of the collegiate player there in George Pickens. Now, strengths, weaknesses, these are important here, especially when we talk about that NFL transition. The first thing that you notice with Pickens is his length and that rare flexibility that he possesses, that flexibility that allows him to control his momentum through all types of transitions there, as well as someone who's, I mean, he does this like a guy who's like 5'10". I mean, his flexibility is absolutely insane. He has that good combination of size and speed. That body control comes into the equation here as well as that big catch radius, which plays in the factor to his excellent length that he possesses. He's more than a willing blocker. We've seen multiple times where he's actually knocked that DB right off. I think he just looks forward to hitting somebody from time to time. And that 2.1% career drop rate, that is best in class at this wide receiver position. Now, we look at these weaknesses. Torn ACL back in the spring of 2021. The expectation is he's going to be fully recovered and ready to go. I mean, he made it back for the last 4 games, but did he really make it back? Not really. He didn't really get wasn't really a factor in those games that we talked about. But the fact that he was able to play them says enough for me to be feeling confident that that ACL injury in the rearview mirror, so to speak. Now, he could also use a little bit of meat on the bones there. Like I said, 190 pounds, 6'3". He's definitely got a little bit of a frame that he could add some mass to. So that's something that I'm sure that NFL teams will be talking to him. And I'm sure Pickens is going to come in around that 205 come spring camp there, or when we get to the fall here when the NFL season kicks off once again. Before we dive right into the whole analysis here and how I break it down, let's take 1 second here and take a look at the 2022 Fantasy Points NFL Prospect Guide. I mean, you get 200 plus rookie profiles courtesy of Greg Cassell. You get Wes Huber coming in there, giving you his Debbie kind of take on everything. You get Debbie rankings, rookie rankings, strengths, weaknesses, film analysis, NFL transition. I talked about how important that is. They got mock drafts there as well, all for the low price of $25. And hey, head over to fantasypoints.com right now, enter promo code Vipers22, and you get 10% off that subscription right now. One of the best bang for the buck subscriptions out there in fantasy. And when you talk about the NFL draft, you definitely want to make sure you're in on all this. Let's go back to the analysis here. Let's go back to George Pickens here before we head on to our next prospect profile. Well, he didn't do much the last 4 games. Teams certainly had to respect what he was capable of doing. He managed to come back from that ACL in less than a year and played some big-time games. Then, come the combine, he had a very good showing. One would have to assume, given a little bit more time to prep, a little bit more time to heal, that those numbers would have been absolutely unbelievable. With Pickens, you get a receiver that's best NFL comparison is probably Gumby. Dudes aren't supposed to bend the way that he does and possess the type of ball skills that are in his arsenal. With a frightening catch radius and exceptional ball skills with one of the best ball adjustment abilities in this class, it's easy to see why many are excited with the potential of George Pickens at the wide receiver position, transitioning to the National Football League. He's going to have to clean up his route running to create larger throwing windows for his QB play at the next level. But hey, this is all stuff that George Pickens can easily take care of. Now, with that all being said, I mentioned getting those notifications turned on. When trades happen, when signings go down, hey, we here at the Vipers Network, we have you covered and we break it all down for you. So make sure to get those notifications turned up because we are coming at you strong each and every day. New content coming at you daily almost. So make sure to tune in to the Vipers Network and we will see you next time.